Hello folks, I'm Ed Overstreet. Welcome to the Night Sky Imaging YouTube channel, where today we're going to process a image that I took yesterday with the AT65EDQ. You can't see it, my chair is hiding it, but it's the Quark Chromosphere. There's a moonlight electronic focuser, and then there's a ZWO174 monochrome camera. Riding on top of that is the Solar Scout by Daystar. This is what the Quark Chromosphere looks like, this little piece of this attachment right here. And then there's a ZWO tilt adapter. No, it isn't. This is a Daystar tilt adapter. And another 174 monochrome camera. So I took the image though with the 65 EDQ, and so let's head over there and take a look at it and start processing. Alrighty, here we are in Autostakkert. And this is step one after having taken a light frame and a flat frame. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open my hard drive that had yesterday's pictures on it. I took pictures on the 26th and on the 27th. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up, I took some flat frames by defocusing, and I also have an adapter that you can fit over the telescope that comes from Daystar, and that adapter will also blur the image and allow you to remove the dust and stuff. But I went ahead and just used the blur feature. And so I have two flats, AVI files that I took, and if we open one of the files, it's got, as you can tell, dust and junk and crud all over it. So all you do is open it, you make 0 changes to any of the settings, whatever comes up, just leave it alone, and then go to image calibration. And you're going to pick the bottom option, which is create master frame. And this happens to be a master flat. So it's clocking right now. I hope I don't have a computer issue. I'm actually inside on a much faster laptop. Lordy. I paused it, but at any rate, I already saved a master flat yesterday because while I was imaging live, I went ahead and processed one. So, but over here, I'm going to call this master flat number 2, and we'll save that. And that's the one we will use. So we now have a master flat, and let's process. Mercy. Things can go wrong in these videos. Okay, and yesterday I saved 10% of, I think I took 1,000 frames. I'll know how many in a minute. You can always tell by looking at the bottom. The flat was a 500 frame AVI file. So we processed this one. Let's go to the last one, and we'll open that up. It's 1,000 frames, and we kept 10%. So on this one, we'll make a decision after we run an analyzation first, and we'll see what percentage of our AVI frames are worth a flip. You can scrub through them if you choose to do that, and you're actually just moving through the video. it's suggested that you scrub through looking for one of your sharper images, and so that looks fairly sharp. Let's just stay there. And these are my settings for the sun. They're not my settings, though, for planetary. So I would pick planet, and I always select improved stacking. I really don't know why you wouldn't. I'm not stacking, improved tracking. I elect cropped, and I always check the Laplace delta. I have played around with the noise robust, and I check local and auto size, and I analyze. This will take a few minutes, so I'm pausing you guys. Okay, this is fairly similar to the one we did yesterday. I'm going to pay attention to this graph, and let's kind of take it apart. There's a line going down the center, and there's the graph, and it's actually graphing each of these individual frames that make up the movie. And so about halfway then is the 50% line, tells me that those frames above this line are better than 50% of the rest of them, the 50% that are below the line. Well, not 50% are below. This is the 50% line, and this is how many below that line fall in the bottom 50%, and the same that fall in the top 50% party. And then we have a roughly 25% upper and the lower 25%. And so there's only very few frames that are in the top 75%. So we have actually more that are in the bottom 25%. So how many are you going to keep out of 1,000 frames? And I can already tell you that you can stack 100 frames and come up with a lot of detail when you're doing either the moon or the sun. You really don't need, as in planetary, with planetary you might need 20,000. You might want to take 20,000 frames and keep 15 or 20% of those, or 30% of those. But you don't need to do that when you're doing the moon or the sun. It's well illuminated, and so you're getting a lot of detail per AVI frame. So now the decision is, what percent am I going to keep? And since it crosses about right here, this tells me that right here, if this is 25% and this is 50, these vertical lines, this tells me that about halfway between 25 and 55%, somewhere around 37% of my pictures are above this 50% line. So I'm going to do one better than that. I want to, let's go back to about 15%, and let's just save 150 or 15% of those files. Now, I would probably end up doing around 10%. I already have a 10% folder. I'll tell you what, let's do 11%. So we're going to keep 110 frames. Let's go ahead and put up our grid. And these boxes are, each one of these are 104 pixels by 104 pixels. That's the size of them. You can make them smaller, 48 pixels by 48 pixels if you want. And but no need to do that. This always works pretty well for me. But before we do anything else, let's clear this and add our flat frame. You can see all the flat crap, that dust stuff that's on here. So let's go ahead and go to image calibration, and let's load master flat. And remember, I had one from yesterday. This is the master flat 2, and pay attention to these dust spots as we open this up, and they disappear. So now let's place our grid, and I check replace multi-scale. We want to replace the grid that was there, and I don't need to zoom any closer. That's fine. So let's place the grid, and it's going through. It's covered everything. I'm going to add a couple boxes here because I know there's a prom there. Okay, now let's stack it. Okie dokie. We have finished. There's no need to keep Autostakkert open, so let's shut it down. And we're now going to open up IMPPG, and we're going to head over to File Open. One of the issues is that I'm working on that little mini hard drive that stays outside. I don't think it got, instead of the, let's see, we go to planetary, instead of the internal drive or a powered external. This is an unpowered drive. So, all right. Now, let's go to zoom out a little bit so we can see everything. And you know me, I'm going to get rid of this box by going up to Edit, and I want to process all of it, not just what's in a box, because I want to see what's going on out here as well as what's going on in the corners. I want to see it all. And the very first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this little squiggly up here, which will show the tone curve editor. And I'm going to make it bigger and make it easy for everyone to see. And then my first choice is to bring this over a little, not to clip any of these features, and then drag this up. Now, before we do that, let's make an anchor and drag this up. And let's see what we've done. Let's kind of shrink this a little bit. Okay, we do have some prom, but we got this mess out here. So let's bring this back in some, and let's get a little more definition in that prom. I am moving this thing to get, I'm looking at the prom primarily. Too far. Okay, now let's bring the slope up somewhat. Not too much. Okay. All right, let's just go ahead and save this. File, save, and we're going to, right now, what folder? Let's see, we're in planetary 27th, and let's just create a new folder and type in output. Give it any name you want. And I'm going to change this to a 16-bit TIFF file. I'm not doing a time lapse. And I'm just going to call this Sun surface and prom. And we're good. I think that's going to work. I am tempted to add some deconvolution and thinking, let's get rid of our tone curve and let's go up here to deconvolution and bring this up to about 2.0. Give it a minute because it's processing the whole thing. That's one of the advantages of having a smaller box. And I think that's all the damage that I'm going to do in this software. If I add any other sharpening, that's going to be in PixInsight. If I do any more at all, probably won't do much more. But just to show you what the software is capable of doing, and I can't do this in Registax. I can't invert this so that my darks are dark and my whites are white. Let's go back to our curve, and since I've already saved this, we'll play around with these settings a little bit. And let's just reset it. If you wanted to do an inverted curve, and you can, you're actually going to do everything about the opposite. You're going to come down here, and you're going to bring everything about up here. And but in order to reveal that prom in the dark, I know it can be done. You end up having to trade your darks for brights. Anyway, you can try inversion and start playing around with it. Let's reset it. I can't get it. Let's try doing this. And let's put an anchor point here, put an anchor point here, and let's try an anchor point down here like this. Well, we're back to where we were. And I just don't. We need to go this way. That's interesting. Well, maybe I discovered something. Maybe this is another way to do that. I don't know. I kind of like some of the looks. It's showing the deconvolution that I did, but that's something we'll have to be played with. But you are keeping the darks and dark, and I like that. And there is some prom being revealed, but at any rate, this is IMPPG, like Autostakkert. It's free. You just have to figure out how to use it. Okay, now we're going to move into PixInsight, and we'll quit this, and we'll load our software now into PixInsight and take it from there. Okay, we're in PixInsight. Let me load my process icons, and these are processes that all of which can be found up here under process, but I use them over and over again, so I save them, and I keep them kind of in the order that I use them. But let's open up our image, and we're going to go to planetary 27th. Capture 11%. The TIFF file. And no, we don't want that one. That's without sharpening being and bringing the can't even talk. Revealing the prom and doing a little deconvolution. So here we go. And let's make this a little bigger. Okay. We're going to put this over here for now. What I think we're going to do first is let's run a crop on this, and I'm going to go up here to dynamic crop. You can go to process, all processes, and go down to dynamic crop, and let's reset it, and I want to bring it in a little there. Actually, I'm moving this part. Bring it in a little there. Do we want to see? Let's leave it there, and let's just bring this down some. And this over some more. This is the center, and I'm going to put the sunspots somewhere near the center. I don't use the rule of thirds when I'm doing this. I just like my features to be visible. But we got some stuff down here and along the rim. Now we need to colorize it, so we're going to bring up curves. We'll go to process, all process, and go down to curves transformation. And let's do a real-time preview, and let's grab the red channel. You have a red line, and let's move that up. Oops, why isn't that happening? I will tell you why. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you a trick. And first you're going to have to go up to process, all process to get this to work. And we want to go down to, is it color? No, not color. Let's see. Convert to RGB color. So we've just converted this image to RGB color, but here's what you need to do in Autostakkert so you don't have this step. Before you open your image, just go up to color and select any one of these. I don't care which one, but select any one of these. And I have forced to RGB, but it'll default to auto detect. But force this to happen, and if you do that, then it will apply a Bayer matrix to your image. You're going to end up making that color what you want anyway. So at any rate, just do that, and then you won't find yourself wondering why it won't bring color when you're in PixInsight. So let's get PixInsight back up here. Okay, now we want to bring this up. And our colors here, and you bring your red up a good bit, and you don't bring your green down that much, and the blue is the one that's gonna be the one that's gonna be the difference maker, and you're just gonna try to decide how much and how little you want to add. Let's try that. We'll come back to green, and I may pull that down a little more. I like this better, right there. And I'm going to apply that. And click OK. Now, we are going to have to do some sharpening, but I don't want to sharpen this. I want to do the prom differently. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to Script, Utilities, and I'm going to open up Game, the game script. And if you don't have this, I'm going to open this up so that we can work on a larger image. If you don't have this, I recommend getting it. So we're going to click Add, and we're going to make this elliptical. I'm going to try to make it elliptical. I may have to, yeah, let's just delete this and make it a multi-point. So to make it a multi-point, I'm going to start in that corner, and I'm going to go like to here, add, okay, there, and stop there, and I'm going to go grab this, and I'm going to grab this line, I want this just to kind of go around the rim, and then I'm going to bring this here, I just want it to hug the rim. I'm not going to be precise, but if you're doing this and you want to print out of it, or you're putting this on AstroBin or something, spend some more time and get it just right. Okay. Then I'm going to click OK. The only thing I should have done, I've got gradient mask checked. What I should have done is I should have had a gradient edge mask checked. All right, there's my mask. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to drag it and put it on the bar, and it's going to change this to a brown color. I'm going to close this. Don't get rid of it, just make it smaller. And I'm going to go up here to mask, and I'm going to put don't show the mask. So right now I'm going to be working on this and not this. So what I want to do is I want to do some sharpening. So I'm going to come up with, I've got something here that I'm going to call Ed's Unsharp Mask, but all it is Unsharp Mask. And you can find it under Process, all processes, and just come down here to last one, Unsharp Mask. And I'm going to create a real-time preview. And keep in mind now, I'm just working on everything that's in this orange color, the surface, and not out here. And we got a real-time preview, so we're going to raise the amount up. Just adding some sharpening to the surface and not out here. Dang it. I needed to spend more time and get it right on the rim so it doesn't cause these. I'm going to apply it, and I'm not going to apply it again that much, but I'm going to apply it again maybe that much. And I might do it again. Okay, so I'm done with that, and I'm going to close out the real-time preview, and I'm going to remove that mask. Now I'm going to go get me another mask, and we'll go up to Script, Utilities, and we're going to come down to Game, same software. This time we'll do an elliptical, an ellipses. We want to clear this, and I want to delete. We want to clear this out, and why won't it delete my mask? Well, it's not letting me do it. And let's say it let it add. Now we're going to delete it. And let's delete that. Alrighty. That's why it wouldn't. Alright, let's make this big. Now I'm going to do an ellipsis. We're going to add it, and we're going to go out here and swing this around a little bit. Bring this in. Because all I want to do really is kind of work on this area right here. And all right, let's create this little mask. And there it is. And that's all we're working on. So we're going to drag this there. Now you're going to say, well, why didn't you make that mask before and just invert it? Then you would be working on everything else but this. Well, that's because I would have gotten all these artifacts on this white background, and I didn't want that. So now let's bring up our is unsharp mask, which again is, and we're looking now at the prom, and do we want to, that's probably what we're going to be able to do. That's looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and apply it. We don't want to apply it again. It's getting funky. Okay, folks, that's it. I would say that probably end up cropping some more. In fact, I'm going to remove the mask, and I'm going to bring up my dynamic crop. It's already opened. I'm going to reset it, and I'm going to bring this in, bring that down. I should have done that before. And let's crop that. There you go. Okay, there's the monster prom, and with a little detail on the surface, and that's what we got, folks. Processing a solar image is just pretty easy peasy. If you got the Autostakkert, IMPPG, and PixInsight or Photoshop can do this equally well. You can use the same curves, you can use the same crop, you can use the same unsharp mask in Photoshop and do the exact same thing. And that's it. Y'all have a good rest of the day. Catch you later.